Hello everybody, today I have for you my new comic book day review for the week of September 4th. So the first issue I'm going to go over, I have Sea of Stars by Jason Aaron. It's issue number 3. I've been really liking this run. Basically it's about father and son. We're out in space. They are like merchants. They're picking up a shipment and their ship got attacked by like a space creature. And it's been kind of cool because they've been treating space kind of like the ocean, where there's a lot of creatures that exist out in the vastness of space, and they kind of swim through space like they do the ocean. When their ship is attacked, something happens to the sun, and in this issue, we kind of see him exploring his powers, like exploring what he can do in space, and doing stuff without even realizing it, like putting himself in kind of dangerous situations and just coming out fine. And I'm really interested to find out, like, where the story's going. Towards the end of this issue, the son kind of meets up with someone. I don't want to ruin it, and so I think there's some good stuff coming in the story. And also has some stuff with his dad, his struggles to find his son and realizing what's important and stuff. And I really like this run. If you haven't checked it out, if you haven't looked at it yet, check it out. I'm stumbling over my words, sorry. There's only 3 issues in, so most comic book shops should still have copies, but it's definitely a good run. You got Space Bandits, issue number 3 by Mark Millar. The story's progressing. I really like this run. The story's progressing a lot faster than I thought it would. So we're in like this revenge arc where these 2 women are trying to take revenge on these guys that screwed them over. They both have stuff that happened to them, and it's moving along like at a fairly good clip. And I'm kind of, since they're moving so quickly through this revenge stuff, I'm curious to see if this is just kind of a prologue of them getting together, and then all this revenge stuff is kind of the introduction of these characters, and then I'm interested to see what happens next. So again, it's about a pair of women in space getting revenge on guys who screwed them over. So, but it's been a fun read so far. Some cool stuff happens, cool fight scenes. We got Triage number 1, Dark Horse title. It's kind of hard when there's the first issue. It's always kind of hard to know what's going on, but I enjoyed it. A woman got sucked in. Not really sucked in. She opened a door and found herself in a room with 2 other versions of herself, and then they get attacked, and she's trying to figure out kind of what's going on. And that's so. First issue is not too much has happened, but it seems interesting. The premise seems interesting, so I'm really curious to see what happens next. But yeah, wasn't bad at all. This is by Philip Sevy. You got No One Left to Fight, issue number 3, another Dark Horse title. I really like this story so far. I like the art. It's very Street Fighter-y. I said that before, but all the character designs just kind of reminds me of the video game. Really, really vibrant colors. There's some fighting in this one. What's the main character's name? Vane or something. He got one of the girls he grew up with was kind of putting the moves on him, and he's pushing her away because there's some stuff going on in his personal life that he doesn't feel comfortable sharing. There's just a lot going on with him, and you kind of figure out a little bit more that the whole comic is based upon the idea of what happens to the heroes after they fight the big bad. And so we find out there were some consequences from his fight, it looks like, and a villain comes up to him and gives him a devil's offer of, I can save you, but there's going to be some consequences of that. So it's a cool title. It's definitely geared towards a younger audience, but I'm still really enjoying it. So pick it up, look through the first issue. I think the first issue might be a little hard to find. I don't know if this was a very wide run, but no, it's pretty good so far. I'm really enjoying it. We got Man in Black, issue number 2 from Cullen Bunn. I don't know if I'm going to keep following this. This is more like a horror gothic story. It's about Roman Black. He's a head of a family of sorcerers, and he took in this woman. Don't really know her story yet. A little bit more was revealed about her in this issue. We kind of see that maybe she's not who she says she was, but there are some people after her. But then Roman's sons and his children are like, who is this woman and why are you inviting her in her home? And there's it's kind of like a vital time for their family and like passing down their magical heritage. So I don't know. The artwork isn't really for me, and I'm not really into like horror stories. So I probably stick with it another couple issues, but then I might just drop it. We'll see what happens. You got Die issue number 7. I love this story. So this issue, in I believe it was issue number 5, they split the party, right? Because some people wanted to go home, some people wanted to stay in the world of Die. And issue 6 followed one group, and then issue 7 is where it starts following the other group, the ones that want to stay on Die, don't necessarily want to go back to their lives. I can't remember the names of these guys, but it follows the dude that was a writer, and then a woman. The God Speaker and the Fool are their characters in Die. So it was really cool, just kind of following, this series is all kind of about heavier themes, and exploring some questions of the human condition, I guess. But it was good. It was enjoyable. I love the artwork, love the story. Definitely check out this title if you haven't. You got the Legion of Superheroes Millennium by Bendis. This is the first of a 2-issue arc, and I think they might be going over issuing like a new Legion of Superheroes title. Like this is kind of the introduction to it. But this kind of follows Thorn, or Rosenthorn, or whatever you want to call her. It's kind of a lesser well-known character, and her life and like all she sees to get from kind of the present, what we think of as the present day, into thousands of years in the future when the Legion of Superheroes is active. So pretty interesting. I really enjoyed the stories. It was interesting seeing this like lesser known character and her meeting more famous characters that you are familiar with. So definitely interested to see where this goes. But it was a lot of fun read. Got the variant cover, pretty cool. You got issue number 1 of Ivy. I think it was Harley Quinn and Ivy. Or Ivy and Harley Quinn, I can't remember. This is one of the variant covers. This issue number 1 of like a team-up story between the two of them. I think the current Harley Quinn story run might be ending a little bit here, so I think they're kind of like transitioning over to this one, but it wasn't bad. It goes off of Heroes in Crisis, right, where Poison Ivy, some stuff happens to her. Harley's kind of looking after her, and then it also draws off of Justice League Dark, where you have the Parliament of Flowers that has taken over from the Parliament of Trees when it died. So the Greens in kind of turmoil. Poison Ivy with her superpowers is kind of keyed into that. And the guy who's kind of taken over for the Swamp Thing as like the representative of the Green kind of comes up to him. So it wasn't bad. I don't know, the artwork was okay. Might not be necessarily for me. I kind of like the artwork from Harley Quinn, the main title, a little bit better. But yeah, check it out if you want. It wasn't bad. Solid. You got Wolverine versus Blade. So this didn't come out today. It came out back in July, but I just heard really good things about it, so I picked it out. I think it's just a little, single issue, short story kind of dealy of team up between Wolverine and Blade, but it was a really enjoyable read. It's definitely mature content. It's not for little kids, but it wasn't like super gory or anything, but it's just Blade and Wolverine fighting vampires. I mean, what more do you really need to know besides that? There's just a lot of, quick, fun read, so check it out if you haven't. For a review, we got the Absolute Carnage titles. First one is Scream number 2. So it picks up right where the other, number 1 ends. We have Andy Benton being chased after by Scream, who took over a new host and is going after at the command of Carnage. Kind of see her, Scream struggle with that command, trying to be good. There's a lot of voices in her head. This one, I feel like the Absolute Carnage, and I think Donny Cates has said this, you only kind of need to read the main title and the Venom titles to get the full story. These tie-ins aren't really totally necessary. Scream isn't bad. Like, it's okay. It's not, I feel like the Absolute Carnage storyline, super cool. A lot of cool stuff that's happening. And then this tie-in, I don't know. It's alright. Solid. Nothing to write home about, but it's not terrible either. So, it's cool stuff that happens, cool fight scenes. Scream's one of the Life Foundation symbiotes, so If you feel the need, check it out, but you're not going to be missing anything if you aren't. And you got Symbiote Spider-Man. I think this is just a single issue tie-in, money grab, basically. If anything, though, even though it's a single issue story, I kind of like the story more than I liked Scream #2, just because it was a quick read, it was complete in itself, and it kind of explored the Spider-Man mythos a little more. And there's a couple pages of story from back in the day where it just talks about, back in the day, the symbiote hitched a ride with someone to get back to Peter Parker. Whatever happened to that guy? And this issue tells the story of him, and then how he ends up in the hands of Carnage at the very end of it. So it was a lot of fun. If you're not necessarily following all the tie-ins to Absolute Carnage, I would give this one a try just because it's a single issue. It's a cool little story. And it just explains a little more about the Spider-Man background. It was, just a lot of fun. And then we have the Immortal Hulk, issue #23. This run's been really good. It's been really consistent, really high quality. This issue, the Hulk, along with members of Alpha Flight, they found the base of people who were experimenting on them, so they break in, they're fighting them. Betty shows up with her own group of people. This issue, there's some fighting and stuff, but didn't really progress the story very much. I felt like it was just kind of a connecting issue to bring different groups together, and then the next couple issues are where things are going to start get moving. So it's still pretty good in the grand scheme of things. If you haven't checked out this run, there's several trade paperbacks. I think there's 4 out now that you can get. And then if you want to follow it in single issues, you can find them in comic shops. They've been pretty good about getting the trades out fairly quickly. I think quicker than most series, just because I think it's been so popular and people have been liking it so much. So, check it out if you haven't. You got Alpha Flight, True North, and #1. I've never really read Alpha Flight. No, I don't know too much about them. That being said, I enjoyed this first issue. It was just kind of solid. I don't know. It wasn't it didn't blow my mind, but it was a lot of fun. And it mainly consisted of a whole bunch of short stories of the different members of Alpha Flight. Kind of explained their backstory, their interactions with each other, and it was pretty cool. I'm definitely going to get the second issue, so I don't know if that says anything, but it was a lot of fun. Then you got Save the Best for Last, House of X, issue #4. So, we're a little more than halfway. So 6 issues in House of X, Powers of X. So this is #4, Powers of X. #4 comes out this next Wednesday. And the first 3 issues of both titles, I feel, was just kind of building the story, introducing you to the characters. And issue #3 is where things finally were coming together. We were understanding what was going on, and I feel like we're on the part of the story now where we're going to get to the high point of the story in the last couple issues. Maybe have a lead in to the X-Men title, X-Force, and all these other titles that are coming out. Maybe just ends on a big cliffhanger. Who knows? But there's a lot of action, a lot of cool stuff that happens. Man, I think this issue just pulls at the heartstrings a little bit. There's some crazy stuff that happens. I'm not going to spoil it, but I like Scotty Young, so I got this cover. And then after I read the title, I was like, man, I'm glad I got this cover with Jean, Cyclops, and Wolverine on it. Just hit a little too close to home, but it's been really good. It's a really good run. Definitely picked up the collected edition if you're not reading the singles. It's a super awesome story. And if you read the collected edition, you won't be as puzzled, I think, as the rest of us have, who have been following it in singles and be like, oh man, what's going on? But it does help, I think, that it's been coming out every week. So, but yeah, definitely look this title up. You won't be disappointed. So that's it. That's all I have for this week. This next week, I think, might be a little lighter title-wise, just because I try to subscribe more to the non-superhero stuff. Not sure how many titles are coming out this next week, since they're usually monthly, but if you like what you're watching, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. There's going to be more videos every week, so I'll catch you next time.